Quite a roller coaster of a relationship. President Trump has gone after his Attorney General Jeff Sessions yet again, and like rarely before, questioning his very existence. The president has been critical of Sessions since he recused himself from the Russia investigation more than a year and a half ago, as required by law. The Attorney General said he was following Justice Department guidelines, which indeed Fox News confirms he was. Now the president tells The Hill, and I quote, "I don't have an Attorney General. It's very sad." The president says he's specifically sad because Sessions was the first senator to endorse him and came to him asking to be Attorney General. President Trump says he may have had a blind spot. This morning, the president softened things and recognized that, yeah, he does have an Attorney General.
I'm disappointed in the Attorney General for numerous reasons, but we have an Attorney General. I'm disappointed in the Attorney General for many reasons, and you understand that.
You understand why. The president says it's not just Russia either. He says he's also not happy with the way Sessions has handled the situation at the border. Sessions hasn't responded. He usually doesn't. But last time the president slammed him in this way, the Attorney General said he wouldn't let politics influence the actions of the Justice Department. John Bussey's here, associate editor at the Wall Street Journal, Fox News contributor. The parent company of the Wall Street Journal and the parent company of Fox News share common ownership. Just when you think things can't get worse, he first denied his existence, and I got it. You know, he was just like, I don't have an Attorney General. He's not on my team. But the Attorney General isn't supposed to be on the president's team. The Attorney General works for the people.
Yes.
Not the president.
Right. And you have to ask yourself, why? I mean, this has been going on for months and months and months. The president saying these things about his Attorney General, Sessions. Why is this happening in public? Why not resolve it in private? If you don't like him, kind of move on to the next Attorney General. Why the constant humiliation of Sessions? And you have to conclude that the big issue for him is recusing himself from the Mueller investigation. Mr. Mueller is moving rapidly by the standard of special counsels. He's getting indictments, he's getting guilty pleas, he's getting convictions. And you have to conclude that the president feels vulnerable. Now, why that may be, perhaps only Mr. Mueller knows. Maybe he's not vulnerable. Maybe he's just angry at the entire process. But he keeps it in the public with this monthly attack on Mr. Sessions.
But if the goal is to get Jeff Sessions to resign so that he can put somebody in that position who would not have to recuse himself and change the scope of the Mueller investigation, so far, at least, it's not working.
Yeah, it's problematic. All right, if that's what you want to do, firing him feels obstruction of justice, doesn't it? So
yes.
Maybe you kind of force him to resign. Well, even there, the Senate has said, many in Congress have already said, look, you're going to have a hard time getting a replacement for Sessions through the Congress, particularly in advance of the midterms. So do you want to do this now? Because we don't want to be seen as putting a different person in who might be more malleable for this investigation. Now, what happens between now and the midterms? Probably just more of the same. With, very interestingly, the Sessions statement that you cited, he made last month. He said, we're not going to let politics get in the way here. The Justice Department's not going to bend to politics. After the midterms, after there's a new complexion in the Congress, perhaps you'll see action by the president.
Of course, effectively, whether this is the goal or not is another matter. We can't, I'm not inside his head, I don't know. But the effect of this has been to make the base, the sycophants, turn on Jeff Sessions, which they have. They used to love him. Now they don't. I read it, I'm sure.
Turn on the Justice Department, turn on the FBI, and by implications, turn on an investigation that the president wishes to discredit because it is moving toward him. Or maybe it's not. We don't know yet. We don't know what Mueller has and what Mueller doesn't have. Maybe his final report will say that the president, nothing happened, nothing went wrong. But the president obviously feels vulnerable to this process and kind of wants to make something happen. Also, look, it's entirely possible these comments were made today because the Kavanaugh issue is in the news. And instead of having the press, the media focus just on the vulnerabilities of his Supreme Court nominee or the alleged vulnerabilities, maybe he wanted to change the topic, and so once again did.
It's the first big issue that has come before the president that he has remained silent on Twitter about. I've not seen one like this somebody somewhere has gotten him to stay focused and on message on this matter.
On the Kavanaugh matter.
And it has served the president, you know, observers on both sides might suggest, very well.
Yeah, not saying anything about Dr. Ford. And that's part of the very sensitive politics that are being played out here. You're right. He's been very disciplined on this issue.
At least on Twitter. But in person, he said, well, I can't imagine that anything happened.
Yes.
That's a nod toward his nominee, not toward the victim who's making a statement with no facts to back it up.
Correct. But at the same time, he said we want to let time not be an issue here. We want to hear from her. We want to have her before the hearing. So he wants to play the look. Everybody's eye is right on the midterms.